Marcus. Marcus speaks.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Marcus Speaks. If you're here right now and you're hearing the sound of my voice, you are in the right place. So let's get down to it. So I want to cover a few things before I start. So if you're seeing both the top part of the screen and the bottom of the screen, this is what I need for you to do. If you are a newcomer to the channel or to my Facebook, I need for you to go ahead. Well, people on Facebook, I need for you to come over to to YouTube. It's fine that you're over there on Facebook, but I'd much rather you be here on Facebook. On YouTube. Sorry. And when you do, please hit that subscribe button. After you hit the subscribe button, it'll be a prompt to the side of it, to the right side of it, and it says all, frequent, and I think none. Please hit all so you can get all of my all of the notifications for when my channel goes live. And after you do that, please, if you could, hit the like button. Puts me in the algorithm. Also, hit the share button. Share this to your social medias, so all the people that you know can come on over as well and come and watch the podcast. Please hit the live chat or the comments if you're watching the replay. Please hit that up. Only for the simple fact that you don't. I'm gonna see the live chat, but then with the replay, I'll also see the comments, and I do reply, and I also bring up people's comments on the screen, so y'all can feel special, and it looks a little something like this. That's what it looks like. Or since I'm monitoring my Facebook, it'll look like this. To have your name and also your comment. If you could, please don't forget. This is the wrong one. Here's the right one. I do a gaming stream on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're into gameplay, please don't forget that I have a Marcus Speaks play that I do on Friday. So feel free to watch that. I have a few in playlists. I have a few of the games that I've played in playlists. So go on, hit that up and check that out. This podcast is using Restream, a streaming tool that I use to stream to Facebook and YouTube. Because if you don't know, after the live goes down on the Facebook side, I take the Facebook live videos down from my group and from my personal page, and I have the YouTube link in its place. So don't be alarmed if you guys don't see that, because you don't see the live video, because you can watch this on Facebook. If you have any recommendations or any type of idea for both my podcast and my gaming stream, please leave those recommendations or ideas in the DMs or in the live chat or in the comments section itself. All right. So turn this up, turn that down. Also, if you want to reach me through my social media, you can reach me on Instagram at marcus.speaks.podcast. on Facebook at the personal page, at my own personal page on Facebook at Marcus Speaks, and then my Facebook group. If you search in the Facebook search engine, it is Marcus Speaks PC. All right, that stands for Marcus Speaks Podcast, is what the group you are looking for. Marcus Speaks Podcast. All right. On YouTube, you can find me at Marcus Speaks. Now, if you go over there and you look a little confused on which one is mine, look for this thumbnail, and that is mine. You should see as many videos that I have up. This would be video 100. Yeah, this would be video 100. So don't be shy. If you're over there on Facebook, come on over here to YouTube. All right, it don't cost nothing. It's free. Just like me asking you to like, comment, and subscribe. It is free. Okay, it's all free. I don't charge a dime doing this. All right. All right. So, to get some things out the way because of the things that I do on this channel, my podcast is basically a conversation starter. Any of these topics that I bring to you today, it's a conversation starter. Okay. Um. So with that, I have videos that I play in my podcast, and some people will say that that's copyright infringement. Now, with that, I say fair use. Okay. Now you might ask yourself, well, what is free use? This is what I needed my pictures for because I can't read that small writing. So you might be asking, what's free use? It's the law. Okay. Above all, it's the law, and that rhyme right there. So warning: federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, which I do. I criticize the videos and the material that I have in front of me all the time. I also do news reporting because each story is a news report of what I've read that I'm reporting to you guys, okay? And each video that I have is also a news report of something that I've watched that I'm reporting to you as well. Teaching. I sort of kind of teach. I just give you my opinion and I give you some recommendations of things of what you can read or watch or find as far as, whatever the topics that I have on hand. So I do teach a little bit. In parody, which I don't do. I don't do any type of parody or anything. I might say a couple jokes or mock somebody, but other than that, I don't do parody. Which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. Okay? And that's the thing. The only reason why I do this is because YouTube has given me some copyright claims over the the year and a half, maybe 2 years I've been doing this now. It's been 2 years and some months. So I give you the fair use law, and not just for me, and not just for you guys, but for YouTube and Facebook as well. YouTube and Facebook, each of these items the fair use policy is in the descriptions of every video that I have. So if you guys want to do something funny, don't try it because I have everything in the descriptions that I need, and I do this every video. So no fuss, no muss. So, is everybody ready to get into today's show? I only have to do one thing before we start. I forgot to um, let's see. So I got that up, so I'm fine. So everybody, today I will be talking to you about, if you didn't read what's already in the title, what I have going on today is that I will be talking about. I will be talking about Texas passing an abortion law, which they didn't pass that just yet. It's on hold for a while, and I'll get into that as well. Why it's on hold. They also passed a bill that disrupts history taught in the classroom. So I'll be going over that as well. I'll be going over a marijuana bill that's in the federal hands right now. So it's some good information, but you got to hear what I have to say about it to make your own opinion on it. And also, the government is censoring social media users. Okay, if you guys saw a video of mine maybe a few weeks back that talked about Donald Trump going to court and suing big tech for deplatforming and censoring him. So this ties into that, okay? So I need you guys to really listen up when I get to that part, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm here. I'll direct you to all the things that I have. I have. Sorry, I'll recommend you to everything that I've read and saw. So don't be alarmed. I got you. Okay. So before we start, I want to give everybody a round of applause. Hold on, a round of applause for being here. Okay. I thank you guys for being here. So y'all ready to start this journey or what? Let me get some juice. All right. So let's get into that abortion bill that Texas passed or is about to pass. Okay. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a new abortion restriction into law on May 19th. It marked a chilling milestone, a staggering 1,300 restrictions enacted by the state since Roe v. Wade. Now, if you guys don't know what Roe v. Wade is, it's like a big ass fucking law that had happened after a court case, and like to this day they reference Roe v. Wade when they're I guess trying to write bills or enact laws into the government. So since Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973, but 2 days earlier on May 17th, the news from Texas wasn't the only bad news for abortion rights that week. The U.S. Supreme Court announced that it will hear oral arguments on a Mississippi law currently blocked from going into effect that would ban abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Now, ladies, this is what you guys have to understand. This applies to you and only you. All right? This applies to you guys. Now, I know that there was a protest a little while back where like some abortion stuff had came up, and the protest was basically about how are men in power going to tell women about uh how they should or what they do with their body, right? Which I agree. I don't really think that. I don't really think that, you know, men, because there's more men in the Senate than anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's women as well, but there's more men senators than women senators. Okay. Then when you get into the House of Representatives, it's more men in that, and it's old white men at that. So, not saying that being white is wrong, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of white men, and I will say some the Republicans on the Republican side, basically talking about the Republican side, and the Democrats, I will say as well. There are more. Uh, there's more white men and there's older black men in the Senate and in the House than black women and black men. I mean, than women, than black women and men and women in general. I mean, sorry. So, so let's see if that works. Okay. Just in case I gotta look something up, I'm gonna have it up on the screen as well, so you guys can view it as well. So, just so that there's no, confusion or anything. All right. So, with that being said, um, the news alarmed legal experts and supporters of abortion rights alike, and with good reason. The court is taking on a case about whether states can ban abortions before a fetus can survive outside the womb. Abortion rights supporters said the case is a clear threat to abortion rights. The court cannot uphold this law without overturning the principal protections of Roe v. Wade. If the court doesn't earlier cases, a decision favorable to the state could lay the groundwork for allowing even more restrictions on abortions, including state bans on abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected, as early as 6 weeks. The case probably will argue in the fall, with a decision likely in the spring of 2020 during the campaign for congressional midterm elections. Now, quick stat real fast. More than 90% of abortions take place in the first 13 weeks of women's pregnancy. I didn't even know that. So, what they're trying to do is they want to crack down on abortions. Basically, what? Ladies, you guys don't really know that you guys are pregnant until what, 3 weeks out? Not 3 weeks out. 3 months. Well, you know 3 months out. But you, I want the woman to tell me, when is it that you know precisely when you are pregnant? Because now that with that information, I would understand that it puts more of a it puts more of a strain on people who don't want to be pregnant. Now, I understand some people may be pro-life, some people may be pro-choice, right? But we live in America, so we have to respect everybody's views and how they feel and what they want to do with their bodies. The only person that I feel like, well, only people I would uh, feel upset about doing said actions is either girlfriend or wife and my sisters. Those are only maybe some cousins that I like, but other than that, those are the only people that I would like feel some type of way if they got an abortion. Everybody else can do whatever the hell that they want. I really don't give a damn. So, ladies, y'all might want to look this up, look this information up. If you're in Texas, Um, Also, the United States is hearing verbal arguments of abortion, so you should be really looking into this for the simple fact that you know I don't really want to bring it up, but let's say a little cousin of yours, let's say she's 13, maybe as a mother or or her cousin, you don't feel as though that they're fit to raise the child. Now, adoption is a good thing, but you gotta remember the little girl, 13. Don't put a 13-year-old through that type of agony of having to fend for a child when she's 13. She's still a child herself. She can't even fend for herself. So now that's the pro-choice side. Pro-life, if you one of those southern grandparents like I had, uh, it's basically you have to take care of whatever that you're whatever you did. You did the act. It's time for you to now take care of your actions. So yeah, everybody look into that abortion stuff. So moving on. Federal weed for everybody. So let's get into that. Let me take another puff. All right. So Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, he's a Democratic senator. So all the Democrats who like weed, this is for you. And even the Republicans who like weed, this is for you as well. So Senator Chuck Schumer of New York proposed ambitious legislation on Wednesday, July the 14th, to decriminalize marijuana at the federal level. The U.S. cannabis industry had eagerly awaited a federal legalization bill that executives, investors, and interest groups had hoped would be a panacea for the partisan divide over a hotly contested issue. Now, people, weed is on. Weed is considered a Schedule One drug. Now, you may be asking, what the hell is a Schedule One drug? Schedule One is basically all of these drugs that they have. Is basically street drugs. They have heroin, cocaine. They have. I'm pretty sure Molly is a part of it now. Ecstasy and various other drugs that are basically street drugs. So, since it's a Schedule One drug, it has a lot of to do with where when you get convicted, they give you a pretty bad sentence, well, conviction, I should say, on top of whatever amount of years you're going to get. So having the substance itself gives you years, and then along with whatever the police catches you with either paraphernalia or whatever, then you get other charges. But the Schedule One stuff is basically it's like a whole list of stuff, and then in the Schedule One paperwork, it basically tells you whatever the drug does, or whatever. Now, cocaine and weed, and just cocaine and weed. Cocaine basically was given to babies back in the day when they were teething. Even people who had tooth pain back in those days, they rubbed cocaine on their teeth, as much as rum as well too. Weed too was basically when it was brought over, it was basically to dumb down the slave population, basically. But then you had a movie. I think it was around the 1950s, 1960s, called Madness. Reefer Madness basically went over how bad uh, marijuana is and what marijuana does to the brain and how it makes people go mad and people start raping and whatever. It was a bullshit movie, basically. All right. So by it being a Schedule One drug, it basically makes people who are now incarcerated for it. There's people doing years just by having marijuana, like just having like a baggie of marijuana or whatever. So since they wanted to decriminalize it, I'm pretty sure these people would be able to get out of jail without penalty, without parole, and I'm pretty sure that they'll be able to get back to their lives and or make a new one or start over or something like that. And I'm glad that that's happening for the simple fact that mostly in the prison system for drug sale or drug possession, it's mainly black people along with our brown brothers and sisters as well. As far as Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Dominicans, and stuff like that. So, the draft bill called for Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act would remove marijuana from the Controlled Substance Act, which is basically what marks it as Schedule One. There's other there's other parts too. Schedule One drugs, Schedule Two drugs, Schedule Three drugs, and so on and so forth. Uh, Controlled Substance Act begin regulating and taxing it, placing new federal rules on a bargaining industry that has faced years of uncertainty. Now, with the states that have legalized it just within its state, because it's still federally looked at as an uncontrolled substance. But in the states that have enacted marijuana into their state law as being decriminalized, and now you can walk to um, a dispensary and buy marijuana just like you would alcohol. Now, from what I hear, uh, Delaware is on that list as well as the states that have made it a recreational drug. I live right next to the state of Delaware, so for all my weed smokers in Delaware, if that is true, I want to give an applaud to you guys, because if that is happening, and I did read something about that, it's still some months out for decisions, but they're thinking about making it a recreational drug. But for all of the states like mine that only make it as medicinal, maybe with this, if the law goes through, Maryland gets to tax it and whatever, along with the federal taxes with it. I'm pretty sure the price will be driven up on the marijuana itself, the weed itself. But I'm pretty sure some people will be happy that they can go somewhere, grab some weed, get high, make them feel good, and then, eat up all the food in their house. So I'm happy for that. I'm happy for the federal government thinking about decriminalizing marijuana because of how many lives that they have ruined in the past. So those states would still be allowed to set their own marijuana laws, which I just said. Businesses and individuals in states that have uh, legalized its use would be free for the risk of federal punishment. Now, if it does get legalized, right? There's only one state that I know of that probably would separate weed sale from tobacco because that state's Pennsylvania. Because Pennsylvania has, well, the town I lived in, the town I lived in, Oxford, Pennsylvania. Lived there for 2 years, 2.5 years, and they had a separate beer store, a store just for beer, and then they had a separate store for liquor and wine and what else? Liquor, wine, just well, they called it spirits, liquor, wine, and spirits. So there was a separate store for that. Now in Pennsylvania, alcohol stores who sell alcohol, they are a state-owned business. So the state of Pennsylvania owns the sale. Well, they own the licenses of having a business in alcohol, which gets taxed by us. You know what I'm saying, when we buy it, and then they they're able to sell it through the state from having a state license. So with that, with the weed, I'm pretty sure they won't sell weed in in like gas stations that also hold tobacco. I'm pretty sure all of that will be separated as well. I'm pretty sure that will be separated in basically all states who also sell tobacco. So, and stores in states that sell tobacco as well. So if you have a dispensary coming into a town near you, if this law goes through, then be happy. Let me pour some more drink before I go on. All right. So, where am I at? The proposal would also try to make recompense to communities of color and the poor for damages from years of restrictive federal drug policy. It calls for immediately expanding nonviolent marijuana regulated arrests and convictions from federal records, and would earmark new tax revenue for restorative justice programs intended to lift up communities affected by the failed federal prohibition of cannabis. Now, look, I'll say this: if this law does allow, um, if it does allow people to, get everything expunged off their record, and they have a free slate coming into the world, and they don't have any sort of, if they don't have any sort of like stigma behind it, like when they go for a background check, and in their background it doesn't state that they've done any federal time, nor have any type of charge that was against them, then they'll be able, to me, that makes this place a better place. It makes America a better place, because having people in jail for crazy, sentences, like some people get like, shit. I just read like a couple months ago, some dudes from like the South somewhere, think like Tennessee or something. Had like a couple sacks of weed in their car, and I think they're doing like 15 to 20 years for that. Now, if the federal government does allow, now all I want to know is, will trafficking the drug be off of the table? If you trafficked it, you had it in your possession, but if you was trafficking it, I wonder if that would be off of the table. But if you just had it in your possession, I'm pretty sure they're going to criminalize that, get all that expunged off your record so you can start a new slate. But it's just a thought for me. Like, I wonder if, if you having it and you're trafficking the marijuana, is that going to be expunged off your record? So, where MI is. Chuck Schumer said at a news conference in the Capitol, here's a statement. It's not just an idea. Who's hold on, because I got something for it. I got a video for that. Hold up. So
the heartbeat bill, which was passed.
All right. Okay. Oh, I didn't get to play that video, but one moment. So Chuck Schumer is not just an idea. It's not just an idea whose time has come is long overdue. We have all seen the agony of a young person arrested with a small amount of marijuana in his or her pocket. And because of the historical over criminalization of marijuana, they have a very severe criminal record they have to live with their whole lives. So here's a stat for that. Nearly 70% of Americans support legalizing marijuana, which is a good thing. So I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to play this abortion video. All right. So we're gonna backtrack just once, and then after this video plays, we're gonna play the next video. It's just gonna go straight, and I'm gonna also comment in between, so no copyright shit happens. But this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna stop it every so often, and then I'm gonna get into the next video.
It's called the heartbeat bill, which was passed by the Senate in the spring and was approved by the House on Thursday.
There's no bill like this been passed anywhere in the country.
Joe Poyman is pro-life and the executive director for Texas Alliance.
Individuals can sue an abortion doctor and can sue anyone who helps to have an abortion, aid and abets the crime of abortion.
Poyman says the point of the heartbeat bill is to protect the unborn child when a heartbeat is detected.
All right. This video is by WFAA, which is a subsidiary of ABC. So shout out to WAA by way of ABC.
Is to protect the unborn child when a heartbeat is detected as early as 6 weeks.
That means that the father...
Now, look, I understand that protection of a fetus is good, right? But in this country, you get freedom of expression. And I'm gonna get into that with the next story. This is what we have to understand. It's some women who don't want to have kids, and there are also some funky motherfuckers out there who, trap females into having children, and most of the times these people are pro-life, and they just go on and have the baby. But what I don't understand is how is the Senate going to just get together with each other and talk about what women should do with their bodies? That's the only thing that I don't get. Like, you're not allowing women to have any type of you're not allowing women to have any sort of you're not allowing women to have any type of possession of themselves. So what the hell? I don't know. Let's keep going.
Of the unborn child, the mother of the unborn child, the grandparents of the unborn child, actually anybody in the state of Texas could sue.
Supporters are calling the heartbeat bill the most pro-life bill since Roe versus Wade.
It's really a horribly written bill that
Michelle Beckley is a Democratic member of the Texas House of Representatives.
it's going to open the door for a bunch of frivolous lawsuits because anybody who has any association with somebody they may have had an abortion can now file a lawsuit.
Republican State
Dang.
Senator Shelby Slauson is the lead sponsor of the bill, who shared her personal story, saying that her mother was given a, quote, dim prognosis of an abnormally developing baby, and that baby, Slauson says, is her. And Republicans making it clear in bold that part of the bill is clarifying for rape victims.
Someone
Okay. Now that's good because there are some funky motherfuckers out there that do rape women, and then women wound up pregnant, from that act. Now I understand that as well. I understand a woman who doesn't want anything to do with a child from somebody who has raped them. I fully understand that. All right. But what I also want to keep iterating is how is the U.S. Senate, but also the Texas Senate, because they're the ones who's going going in with this bill, but along with the U.S. government, how in the hell are y'all just going to be sitting up talking every day, well, every week about, well, yeah, every day and every week about what women should be doing about their, with their bodies? Like, it has nothing to do with you. Leave it alone. And whoever is second in charge of the Texas Senate, and who's ever second in charge in the U.S. Senate, you need to sit. Who's ever is top chair, you need to sit them down and be like, "Yo, I don't think this is right. I don't think this is good." But all these people are old that we're talking about. Like, I think the youngest person in the Senate is AOC. Second oldest, I think I would say, is Cory Booker. Maybe Cory Booker's maybe in like his late 40s, early 50s, maybe. Why don't you? Why don't they get with these people and talk to them? Well, I wouldn't really say Cory Booker all that much, and AOC has, well, talk to the people. You need to talk to the people. All right, stop sitting down every day writing some bullshit ass bills and then thinking that it's supposed to be enacted because of moral judgment. Like, just stop.
Admits the crime of rape against an innocent woman um, cannot bring a lawsuit under this bill.
David De La Fuente is a Democratic analyst.
Is just an attempt to feed red meat to their very conservative base at a moment when Texas is dealing with some really serious issues.
In Dallas, I'm Molly Basu.
All right.
So today is a big day.
So since we got done with the abortion stuff and we're now in the weed stuff, I'm gonna let this video play. But like I said, I'm gonna keep stopping it from time to time, and I'm gonna give commentary. So here we go.
In the Senate. So today is a big day in the Senate. For the first time, I, as Majority Leader, Senator Wyden is the chairman of the Finance Committee, and Senator Booker, one of the foremost champions for justice and equity here in the Senate. We are all joining together to release draft legislation to end the federal prohibition on cannabis. This is monumental because at long last, we are taking steps in the Senate to right the wrongs of the failed war on drugs. I was the first Democratic leader to come out for the legalization.
Now, he said that this is going to stop the war on drugs, which, if you guys remember, it was President Richard Nixon who came up with that term, the war on drugs, because in no type of federal documentation could he say that I want a war on black people or a war on Puerto Ricans or a war on Dominicans or whatever. Because the simple fact that drugs purposely was dropped. Now, some people don't even believe this. To some people this is conspiracy. But if you live in the hoods around America or the ghettos around America, you know that there's drugs in abundance in the hood. There's guns, military grade guns in abundance, which conspiracy theorists get shot down from people who don't believe this. But I think I did a story on this. I think that there's a California police officer who drives down to Tijuana or maybe Colombia, somewhere in Mexico, where he takes like a suitcase of money. He buys guns from these Mexican country, brings those guns back, then drops those guns off in the hood. And I'm pretty sure however many guns that there are being passed around the country somehow. Because you gotta remember, if you have an unregistered gun in America, you'll be placed in jail for it. Right? So then those guns get put into evidence lockup. Now, this is what nobody asks. After these cases are over, where this gun where said gun or said guns was had to be in evidence for the court case. Where is these guns going? Like, no one asks that question. Like, where are the guns going? Like, where have all the guns gone? You know what I'm saying? Maybe I shouldn't do that. Like, that's what I want to know. Where are these illegal guns going once the case is over? Somebody's found guilty or innocent. Where are these guns going? Because I'm pretty sure they're not going back to evidence lockup. Somewhere or another, they're being placed somewhere, either in auction or whatever. But where are these guns going? I also would say, where are the drugs going as well after said drugs are put in the police evidence lockup and then they're being used for court cases? Where are the drugs going? Because they just can't stay there. They need room for more. Unless they have a warehouse, they need room to put said guns and drugs in, or weapons and drugs and what have you, to go along with said places. They got to put it somewhere. So are they putting those drugs back out on the street, or are they getting rid of it somehow? No one knows, because no one brings that question up. Let's get back to the video.
I will use my clout as majority leader to make this a priority in the Senate. As my colleagues and I have said before, the war on drugs has really been a war on people, particularly people of color.
This is a grievous reality. Lives are being destroyed every single day. And the hypocrisy.
Now, Cory Booker needs to calm down, all right? You saw how Schumer was talking. There's no reason why you should be yelling like that, being so damn over exaggerating everything. All right, just you should speak in a tone the way Schumer was. Now I understand you're the senator from New Jersey. I'm pretty sure he was the mayor of Newark at a time, and we all know Newark is one of them cities that is riddled with drugs and crime and all kinds of shit. But look, you ain't got to be all over exaggerated. All right, we all know, how we feel. You shouldn't have to be screaming like this.
Of this is that right here in the Capitol, now people running for Congress, people running for Senate, people running for President of the United States readily admit that they've used marijuana. But we have children.
The only reason why is because they will be looked down upon if they did. Now, Bill Clinton did say, I took a puff of marijuana, but I didn't inhale, which, come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest, Bill. You got high, all right, because you like fucking with bitches. Young bitches at that. We all seen that you do by the way of you fucking with Monica Lewinsky. But that's a different story, all right? That's a different story. Now, not Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, he snorted some cocaine, had some weed, he had a drinking problem, and all kinds of other shit, but, that's neither here nor there. But that doesn't mean that a president doesn't come out and say that he smoked weed. The only reason why that they don't say that they've done drugs is because that makes them morally look bad. It doesn't make them look bad by the public who do said drugs. It just makes them look bad by the people who's voting for him, who's never done anything a day in their life. That's all.
People all over this nation are veterans. Black and brown people, low-income people, now bearing the stain of having a criminal conviction for doing things that half of the last 4 presidents have been doing. We are in the midst of a grievous moment of injustice. And
now, I would say, with the military vet thing, I know a military vet that smokes because it said it calms him down for basically the egregious shit that he had to do over in Afghanistan. Well, overseas, in the Middle East, I should say. I shouldn't just put a blanket on the country, but shit that he did over in Afghanistan or the Middle East, he had to do some shit that wasn't, morally right. All right. And he smokes weed for the simple fact that it helps calm him and it helps him not have to think about what he had to do over there. Now, some people will say, well, that was his duty as a soldier, and that's what he had to do. I understand that, but with some people, they don't really take too well with, you know, uh, hearing that sort of thing. They don't not hearing that sort of thing, but from his story, he said he had a decision to make. Either he let the bad guy go, or he, did the egregious act to said bad guy. Said bad guy was a child though, but he had to do what he had to do for protection of the country, fight for his freedoms, yada 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 yada. Which I don't understand how I'm going off on this, but side note. How's it that when they do describe when we are at war that soldiers are fighting for our freedoms? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But how's it that, and I always said this, how's it that my freedoms is over in said country? There's some way or another, the U.S. government allows said countries to play capture the flag with our freedoms, and now our soldiers have to fight for them. Just saying.
It is deep at the core of who we say we are, equal justice under law.
All right. That was that. So we'll get out of there. Okay. So let me find the next video that I have.
So today is a
It's called the Heartbeat Bill.
All right. That's the next video. Okay. So let me leave that up so I can remind myself. By Fox News 4, but Fox News 4 now. Okay, that's who the next video is for. So shout out to Fox News now, Fox 4 News now. So where I left off was basically it was I gave you guys the stat of Americans that are up in arms for the marijuana bill to be passed. So along with that, the legalization faces an uphill battle in the Senate where Republicans are opposed and it is unlikely to become law soon. But in the arc of public rapid reconsideration on Wednesday was a remarkable milestone for legalization proponents. But let's be honest. Can we be honest for a bit? We can be honest after this video. I'll say what I have to say after this video, all right?
Well, a conservative Supreme Court justice says federal laws that regulate marijuana may not be necessary anymore. Justice Clarence Thomas says that a ruling from 2005.
Clarence Thomas, like for real, of all people, Clarence Thomas. Mr. I jacked off in front of a lady and put a pubic hair on her coat, Clarence Thomas. Anyway.
Which made marijuana possession illegal, may now be redundant. He claims that with so many states making their own rules on marijuana use, federal rulings are being undermined. You see, 18 states have given the green light for recreational use, and another 18 have legalized medical marijuana. Florida is one of those states that's legalized medical marijuana.
Fuck it. Some more on Clarence Thomas. The same Clarence Thomas who said in his deposition that the only reason why this is happening to me because I'm a black male justice on an all-white justice seat, and I took this seat from a white man, and that's the only reason why people are messing with me. The same black man that is married to a white woman who don't care. Well, maybe I'm speaking a little too harshly on this, but the same black man that is married to a white woman who don't give a fuck about black people. I'm just saying. Anyway, I digress.
Only, and the industry has boomed.
As of this morning, there are close to 350 dispensaries throughout our state. Despite the growth medical marijuana has seen, experts say it could still be some time before marijuana is fully legalized.
I personally think it's fine. We're not going to see it until 2024, until it actually makes, the next primary, election year ballot. It doesn't seem like our legislators are going to do it on their.
But they can do that now. They pass laws all the time. Biden's in there, Biden and Kamala Harris, which I don't believe a damn word that both of them say. They both said that they would legalize marijuana and decriminalize it. So how's it that with the last story that U.S. is hearing arguments of an abortion bill that would halt abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, but they can't just write this bill up, sign it, have it get signed, and have all the people that are in jail for marijuana get out. Like, it's not, I'm pretty sure it's not that easy, but come on now. Like, there's been laws that have been passed, and like I covered maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, that they put a bill on protesting. Now that's a First Amendment right. The ability to freedom of speech and also freedom of assembly. They put basically a law against protesting. You can't protest whatever, right? But you can't put a bill into law after two of the presidential candidates, which both of them are in their seats of power now, as President Joe Biden, then as Vice President Kamala Harris, who also said, and I'll reiterate, that they would like to decriminalize marijuana. In the state that Kamala Harris is from, she had to oversee the whole decriminalization and legalization and recreation of marijuana. So why isn't it not just going through like that? Now, I do understand most Republicans want to withhold, the country's values and everything that they value about this country. I understand that. All right. But what I don't understand is that I'm pretty sure most of the Republicans are with this bill. I'm pretty sure half of them are. It's just the ones that are very high up in their seat that don't want this to happen, and they're probably persuading their colleagues on how it shouldn't be um, put into place. But whatever.
So unfortunately, it might come down to a vote of the people.
When Florida first legalized medical marijuana back in 2016, the issue had to go through a voter referendum. Experts say it may require another presidential.
To all my weed smokers, I'll let you guys see that again because I know y'all like that. Mm-hmm. There y'all go. I know that looks beautiful to y'all right now. All right, let's keep going.
Through a voter referendum. Experts say it may require another presidential election year for recreational use to pass. And many of you may be wondering about the laws surrounding marijuana across our state right now. So we want to go in depth to help answer some of those questions. Nationwide, marijuana is still considered a Schedule I illegal substance.
As I said.
That means it's considered to have the highest potential for abuse and not accepted for medical use. That puts weed in the...
But they do that now. They allow medicinal use for it, which can alleviate pain or stop you from, whatever the causes of anxiety are. Just certain, certain ailments that you may have. It relieves and allows you to, be more of yourself than what you were and not, feel depressed or anything. But so, yeah, it's on the Schedule 1, but it has many medical uses and recreational uses is that. Now, some people may say it's abused, but I will say yes, it is abused, but I will also say it's only abused because it's not as readily available. I would say only because I live in what was uh, determined by my town's legislation. Well, not legislation, but the police as a bad neighborhood. Back in the day, it was. Now it really isn't. But back in the day, it was. But I didn't really see too much. That's a different story. I won't get into that.
Category as heroin or LSD. In Florida, if you're caught with up to 20 grams of...
Wait a minute, which is a lie. The same level. Hold on. I'll allow her to say it.
LSD. In Florida, if you... category as heroin or LSD. In Florida, if you're caught with up to 20 grams of weed on you, that is considered a first-degree misdemeanor, and it could land you in jail for a year. If you have anything over 20 grams, that's up to 5 years in jail with a potential fine of up to $5,000.
Now, the main difference between recreational and medicinal marijuana is how it's regulated. Medicinal users are trying to treat pain. The state has to approve the marijuana sold in dispensaries, and it's treated like medicine. Medical marijuana comes in a number of forms. While there is some approval for vaping and smoking, most medical users in Florida use CBD pills, creams, oils, and patches.
Because the CBD, now I haven't used any of like the rub-on ointments or anything, the CBD stuff. There's plenty of places that I go that have it, such as like Food Line. They have it in like a little case now. The vape store that I go to, where I get all of my vape juice and my boxes and my batteries and my tanks and stuff, they have CBD things. Shout out to Wesley's vape. Um, yeah, they sell stuff like that, and also, which they're probably regulated for, but they also sell hemp, which is in the same family as marijuana. Hemp does the same thing, alleviates pain. It doesn't have any psychedelic effects such as THC, but it helps you alleviate pain, helps with anxiety, and so on and so forth. So plus hemp can be used. You know, they have hemp paper, and they have hemp can be used for various things, clothing, all kinds of stuff.
A non-approved dispensary is considered pills, creams, oils, and patches. Anything sold from a non-approved dispensary is considered recreational. Florida's Supreme Court recently shot down a measure that would have put recreational marijuana on the ballot for next year.
Now, we all should be up in arms for this. But let's be honest. Y'all want to be honest? I think I got one more video. Okay, I don't. Thought I did. Let me check to see if I got one more video. I thought I had one more video from the Black News Network. Okay, all right. That was for the next topic that I got. All right. So y'all, let me turn some music up. Let me start this over. I like this beat. All right, let's be honest. Let's be honest. And I'm going to need some points because I don't remember the full thing of what I wrote. So let's be honest. If this goes through, we will just be just like alcohol. It's going to be regulated in some sort of capacity. It's gonna have taxes put on it. Which just look up California, Colorado. Which Colorado was the first state to decriminalize it, and then California followed after. And then you have your various other states that I can't name right now, but so it's gonna be taxed out its ass. I'm just want to let you guys know. Oh, a fucking mosquito on. All right, so it's gonna be it's gonna be just like alcohol. So you'll be able to use it, but there also the reason why it probably won't go through until next year. Only for the simple fact is that they want to know if you can operate a car with it, heavy machinery, and I think like if you're outside using it, just like alcohol, like if you're outside in public, then how with the same with alcohol. If a police sees you with alcohol, and if you're not transporting it but you are drinking it in public, they can ask you to pour it out, which is basically it's them enforcing law to you. Which if you try to fight it, they can arrest you for it. But I'm pretty sure they're trying to make it just like that, to where they want to know if you can operate heavy machinery, if you can operate a car with it. They're trying to see all these things, which I'm pretty sure some scientists will lie or some doctor is going to lie saying you can't. And then it's going to be in law that you can't, if you're caught with it operating a car, they're going to try to find some sort of technology where if you breathe into an apparatus just like, the breathalyzer test that police give you, they want to see what your level is or whatever. They're going to enact some federal, if not state, level of marijuana that you can have in your system in order to operate said vehicles. So I want you guys to pay attention to that as well. But you don't have to really, worry about it as much because if you're responsible with it, then you won't have to worry about it. So yeah. If it goes through, then it'll just be like alcohol, which isn't a bad thing. Like I said, for some, but let's be honest. We'll see how they will tax the weed and how they would jack the price up on the weed. Local grow ops could be a thing of the past. Why big pharma and big tobacco is about probably is about to if it does go through, probably going to swoop in and buy the market up of marijuana because it's been various things. If you read that that tobacco companies are trying to get into weed, and since it's can be used as medicinal, then some sort of big pharma company such as Pfizer or Johnson and Johnson or something like that, they're probably going to try to get into the whole fray and try to make products from the THC or the CBD stuff or whatever, probably combined as well, because with certain drugs, like with certain psychotropic drugs such as Ritalin and Adderall and Concerta and stuff like that, those some of those can be matched up with their street level counterparts as being like the same molecule. So they'll probably try to find some sort of way as a pill or whatever to make this into, and big pharma and big tobacco is going to swoop in and buy this whole weed market up. So you guys be on the lookout for that if this does come through. And then the euphoria of the high you guys experience today will just be a buzz in the future. So if they do decriminalize and legalize this shit, don't think you're gonna get super fucking high off this. Now, with alcohol, there's no way around it. They just put certain regulations where, you know, people who brew alcohol can only have their alcohol at certain levels. That's just like when you start seeing moonshine in liquor stores. That the alcohol level in the store bought moonshine is way lower than like the street shit that you get from like Tennessee and Virginia and shit like that where they make it. It's like it's not the same stuff at all. It's not the same stuff. Which I want to say, fuck you to the white dude who gave me moonshine that one day. I ain't gonna say where he gave it to me because I don't want to. I won't even bring that up. But that shit was nasty. All right, don't ever give nobody no shit like that. And he got his shit from I think he got his shit from North Carolina. So don't ever bring that shit and try to offer nobody none of that nasty shit again. All right, put something in it like a cinnamon stick or something because that shit was disgusting. Um. So you guys better recognize what this means for the incarcerated. If states uh, in the bill that sentence will cut short, will they be able to apply for the licenses? Right? Because if it gets expunged off of their record, then they should be able to apply for dispensary license. So instead of them uh, instead of them selling weed on the street, they can honestly sell weed at a storefront and be able to make profit and be able to put said profit into a bank. Because everybody, these dispensaries, they can't put their money in the bank since marijuana is still considered a Schedule One drug. Banks don't want nothing to do with it. I'm pretty sure banks want these dispensary owners to be able to deposit their profits into their bank, so then the bank can give out more home loans, more business loans, just in loans in general. They want to be able to do this. I'm pretty sure there's maybe a bank company out there or financial company who would like to have dispensaries deposit into their bank so they can gain more profit for the bank and also be able to give more people uh, home loans and car loans and stuff like that. So, and business loans. So, this works out for everybody. It doesn't just work out for the people, it works out for everybody. All right. Um, where am I at? Apply for the license that are out there to register for their weed dispensary business. I hope they do. But on a higher note, so everybody get on y'all's high note. I'm kind of thinking this is good for the country to be more up in arms about something that has had such a stigma. But I will say, keep your weed man on speed dial because y'all don't know what this weed is gonna have in it. You don't know what this weed is gonna have you feeling like. Like, just keep your weed man on speed dial. All right. Make sure you still have your weed man in your phone, so just in case you do try that unlegalized, the criminalized weed, that you still can get a buzz off of, buzz or a high off of it. If not, find your weed man, the nearest weed man near you, and get everything cracking. All right, got another Texas story. So Texas wants to alter history. I'll tell you how. Texas Senate on Friday passes legal legislation that would end requirements that public schools include writings on women's suffrage and the civil rights movement in social studies classes. It would remove more than 2 dozen teaching requirements from a new law, HB 3979, that bars the teaching of critical race theory on an academic framework exploring racism shaping of the country. Now, if you guys remember me covering that topic, critical race theory, one thing I said in there is, now, there's a lot of people pissed off about critical race theory. I don't understand how, because this is how they have to look at it. Critical race theory basically teaches the full history of the country, not just white people being bad. It teaches the full history. Now, I'm pretty sure since they took Black History Month out of schools, and we don't learn about Martin Luther King or stuff like that, which they wasn't telling the full history of, right? There's many black inventors, black people who won more black people who won Nobel Peace Prizes, more black people who, yes, they are radical, but they do fit in the framework of American history. These are the people that we don't learn about. The only thing we learn about is slavery. Then we learn about Rosa Parks sitting on the bus. We learn about Malcolm X heading the whole thing, the whole civil rights movement, which he didn't want to do. And then we learn about Martin Luther King himself. Then we learn about his assassination. And then we learn that hold on, let me back up. We learn about Martin Luther King. We learn about him having the "I Have a Dream" speech. Then his dream being enacted into law, and then he gets assassinated. That's all we learn about. As far as when it comes to American history, but more so of African American history. Critical race theory is only here because it allows teachers in states that, and I'm getting into my reign. I'll just rather do it now. So, what I spoke on in that video when I talked about critical race theory is there is no federal mandate of um, how history is taught in this country, and I went over all of the states who don't have the same, who don't teach certain things when it comes to African American history, right? So I might as well just do my rant now and then do the rest of the story. So what I said was, remember in the video I did, which I just stated, critical race theory, how the United States doesn't have a national standard on how history is taught in the country. So with that, every history, math, English, and science textbook. Now I'm veering off. So let me get out of that because I don't want you guys to know that yet. So in a way, Texas is the holy grail of K through 12 education, which I'll get into that as well. Okay, so to their education systems, we're all doomed. Look like Dr. Umar's school isn't looking too bad right now at this point. Y'all better send y'all's donations. Donations. Alright? Now look, with me saying that, as a black person, I don't have a child yet, but when I do, if this shit goes nationwide, Dr. Umar's school is practically the only safe haven as far as us learning about ourselves, along with, the country within a whole, because that's important too. But it basically allows us to learn more about African American history, and not only just African American history that involves Africans around this planet. Right? So Dr. Umar's school doesn't look too bad right now. So everybody who doesn't know about Dr. Umar has a school that he bought that's in Wilmington, Delaware right now. It's not fully functional yet, because Dr. Umar wants the he wants the school to be owned, operated, and funded by black people. So basically, I'm pretty sure there'll be a tuition system with Dr. Umar's school. But look, it's either you allow your child to learn in a free school that's state sanctioned, which your child doesn't learn shit about themselves, and as you know, they're dumbing the school systems, school boards around the country are dumbing the education down. What I learned when I was in high school, in school in general, isn't what my niece and nephews is learning right now. Like, it's not even the same at all. All right. So, where was I at? Where was I at? I gotta find. Okay, there I go. Okay, so now that the rant is done, I can get back into the story. The law included a list of study of historic figures, events, and documents required for inclusion in school in social studies classes. All right. The Senate passed bill would remove most mentions of people of color and women from those requirements, along with requirements that students be taught about the history of the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacy, and the ways in which it is morally wrong. Now, do you really want your kids to learn that shit? Like, we know Ku Klux Klan members are morally wrong. Now, from what they're thinking is they're just trying to ethically cleanse the country of black, white, juices people, and anybody who isn't a Anglo-Saxon, basically, right? Y'all don't know about the Anglo-Saxons? Do your research. You learn about them in school. Quick history lesson. There was the Anglos, and then there was the Saxons. Both groups were dying off at a well, I wouldn't say a rapid rate, but basically they bought both groups together, and now they are the Anglo-Saxons, which they still live to this day. Everybody who's in Europe is Anglo-Saxon, and all the Europeans who came here to this country are Anglo-Saxons. I'm talking uh, Northern Europe, not like Italy and shit like that. Italians, they got a whole different thing going on right now. Well, not right now, but their lineage, they have a different type of lineage. But anyway, how it is morally wrong. Among the figures whose works would be dropped, you have Susan B. Anthony, which she led the women's rights movement, which will be dropped. Cesar Chavez, the Latin farmer struggle movement leader, that will be dropped. Which I didn't learn about Cesar Chavez, but I'm pretty sure in like the what do they call that? The southwestern states probably learned about Cesar Chavez. So Texas, maybe Arizona, New Mexico, and probably Nevada and Southern California probably learned about Cesar Chavez, but I never learned about Cesar Chavez. I knew who he was, but I never learned about him. Martin Luther King Jr., the "I Have a Dream" speech, and the letters from Birmingham jail, which will be dropped. Also, the civil rights movement teachings will be dropped as well. And also, which is a slap in the face to Native Americans, Native American history will be dropped as well. So, I'm pretty sure Native American. No, that's too bold of a statement. I'm sure some of the Native Americans don't go to American public schools. I'm pretty sure some of them do, so I don't want to, put a blanketed statement on that. But I'm pretty sure that they all don't go. But this also allows the country to erase them out of history. So this is all this is. It's all kids learning about America in the framework of them not even existing, basically. Now where is it at? I try to end that with something I can't even find it, man. Probably number 3, yep.
Holy shit.
I try to end it with that, but I couldn't find it. I need to put all of the sounds that I actually use together, and then all the rest of them, I need to put them somewhere else. But that takes time. But anyway, so those would be dropped. Would no longer make the curriculum cut. So none of the people that I just just the ones that I've spoke on, but there's probably more that won't be spoke of. It won't make the curriculum cut, which cuts a teacher's planning down by half. So you talking about your child learning about, let's say that your child had its history textbook, right? Cut half of that book in half, and that's what they're learning. They're not learning nothing else other than white American history in this country. That's it. Like I said, that's important to learn about the country as a whole, but when you're cutting certain things out that allow black people to be freed from slavery, women to be able to get their voting rights, which is the 19th Amendment, and free from slave, the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment as well too. But that cuts all of that out of the curriculum, and kids don't get to learn that anymore. That, which I would say with African American history, you should already be teaching your child that if you're a black person, you should or if you're a white parent that has a mixed race child that is black, you should. I said white parent, but if you are a parent of any other type of race that has a mixed race child that is half black, you should be either trying to find them someone that knows the history, and if you are a parent of a black child, if you're black yourself, you should be teaching African American history to your children any damn way, or have something in your house that shows that you're that you're with your blackness. Like when I grew up, all my mom had was black statues, black pictures, and everything that dealt with like Africa and shit like that. That was in my house. There was a picture of a black Jesus right next to the staircase. My mom had like this. It was like this black mirror, like pyramid picture thing. She had like these African statues in the house. She had all kinds of shit. That to this day, I'm like, well, damn, I wish she still had that stuff. I would like to put it in my apartment or my house. But, whatever. So, BS3 bill was passed on a vote. Oh, hold on. So, BS3 bill was passed on a vote of 18-4. Special session is set to end on August 6th due to Texas Democrats being out in Washington. The measure also would bar the teaching of the 1619 Project, an initiative uh, exploring versus history starting at the date enslaved people arrived in the English colonies. Now, how is that wrong? Now, if you don't know anything about this country, you had your European settlers that came here. They couldn't handle the bulk. Let me back that up. Once the war happened between England and the U.S., they wanted to basically with that America didn't want to pay taxes for their stay here because back in those days England owned everything, right? The royal family rules the whole world basically, right? So with that, the United States, before it was called the United States, it was being taxed by the king. So all the people who came here, basically all the criminals, said, you know what, fuck that. We ain't doing that no more. We throwing our tea into the river. We don't give a fuck about that. We'll make our own tea. We're not getting any more goods for them. We'll make all that shit ourselves. Once word got back to England, the king said, fuck that, send the troops, because we going to war. So, with that being said, corporations started being, started here. Well, they needed a labor class, right? Since the country was poor at that time, they couldn't pay anything. So they was like, you know what? England is receiving slaves by the hundreds. Why don't we get into that business as well? Why don't we grab some slaves and have them come over here and work for us? So, if you guys don't know slave history, the transatlantic slave trade, you gotta remember, the Juices people was at the head of all of it. They was funding everything, right? Then the Arabs were basically the collectors of said people. And then you had your customers, which was basically South America, the Caribbean islands, in U.S. and also Canada as well. If you guys don't know anything about Canada being in the slave trade, it was in the slave trade. But then when the rest of the world said, you know what, this is morally wrong, we shouldn't do this. The United States stayed in the slave trade. Well, how they do it? They started up breeding farms right here in Maryland, which is basically Southern Maryland, where you can take a tour of the slave breeding barns and shit, which is fucking crazy, man. So anyway, that is basically the 1619 Project. It's like a brief synopsis in a way, sort of. All right, so where am I at? Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said in a statement after the vote that Senate Bill 3 will certain. I think I meant contain when I wrote that. Critical race theory philosophies, including the debunked 1619 Project founding myth, are removed from our school curriculums statewide. So that's Texas, Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Parents want their students to learn how to think critically, not to be indoctrinated by the ridiculous leftist narrative that America and our uh, Constitution are rooted in racism. Now, you wouldn't call that indoctrination by taking out Susan B. Anthony, Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, the Native Americans of all people, and other like people who even the Spanish who had a hand in building this country. Well, I wouldn't say had a hand in building the country, but had a hand in shaping the country. I would say, because we all know black people built the country. Now that's a blanketed statement, but you do your research and you'll see white people was there throughout the whole damn thing. Now, by them saying that the 1619 project is debunked, you guys go ahead and get the book. I'm pretty sure you can find it on Amazon. There's probably several books written on the 1619 project. So go to either your local Barnes and Nobles, maybe, because Barnes and Noble's African American section is like dwindling. But go on Amazon and see if you can find a book on the 1619 project, and you let me know if that shit's debunked. I got mine right over there on my nightstand, along with all my other various books. So, Republican Senator Brian Hughes was the author of the bill, and he stated, "What we're doing with the bill, we're saying that specific reading lists doesn't belong in the statute. Instead, such requirements should be in the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Standards developed by the State Board of Education. Not just politicians, but teachers and parents and administrators have a say in the process. The bill would prohibit teachers from being compelled to talk about certain events or controversial issues, instructing those choosing to engage with students to discuss without giving difference to any of perspectives." Now, I want to get to that part where it said, where is it at? That teachers, parents, and administrators have a say so in their in this bill. If black people ain't down at that damn Texas Senate building in droves about this, then shame on y'all. Because for the simple fact that Texas and possibly pretty soon America, the American government will probably oversee a bill like this. Y'all don't think, which they are, they're talking about critical race theory right now. Y'all don't think that it will be a problem if you sent your kid to school and you looked in their textbook, or if you saw that their textbook was like this small? You wouldn't have a problem with that? With your kids not learning significant events about who they are in school, which, like I said, you should be teaching your child African American history at home. If you don't have any sort of book when it comes that talks about African American history, then shame on you. My grandmother has fucking like a stack of these African American encyclopedias, and it basically just goes over African American history and black people who's had patents. Well, Black people who invented something which the invention patent was basically taken away from them. Because back in those days, if you was black, you really couldn't register for a patent for your work. Because usually white dudes would patent your idea and make money off of it, such as the street, not the street light, but the street light, the traffic light, what else? The phone, and various other things. So your child won't learn that in school, which they don't now. They don't now. You'll learn that some white dude invented the traffic light. Which, if you do your research, he patented it. It was a black guy who came up with it. Just like with your car, like 95. Well, let me not say 75% of modern cars. What's in modern cars were invented by black people. So 75 is probably a big number. I'll just throw the number out there just to get my statement up. But I'm pretty sure it's around that area. Like between 60 to 75% in your car was made by somebody black. But they won't tell you that in the history books because they want to erase things like that about things that we have done in this country. Where am I at on time? Alright. Almost 2 hours in. Alright, so there you go. Okay. So Democrat Judith Zaffirini said the legislation among the trying the hand of teachers. Oh, I said that wrong. Zaffirini said this legislation amounts to trying the hands of teachers. How could a teacher possibly discuss slavery, the Holocaust, or the mass shooting at the Walmart in El Paso, or at the Sutherland Springs Church in my district, in Judith's district in Texas, without giving certain events public policy and social affairs or a difference to anyone's perspective? There's no way that with this law being enacted, if it does, a teacher's hands is tied. They can only teach from the textbook. They can't be like, well, yeah, this, and that. This aligns with that, and your kids won't really be learning because their teacher basically be a robot just reading from a book the whole time. Nobody's learning anything like that. So, but in the Senate bill, those agenda ideas were removed. The National Education Association, the National Council for the Social Studies opposed legislation to limit what ideas can be presented inside a classroom. Now, I'm about to play y'all this video. And this is actually from the Black News Network, I think it's called. They cover this as well, and they had more to say. I won't go through the full 11 minutes, but I will play some. So here we go.
Good evening, Black people and all allies fighting for Black liberation, Black prosperity, and Black joy. I am Charles Blow, and welcome to Prime. The Texas Senate has passed legislation with a vote of 18-4 that would end teaching requirements on some lessons about the civil rights movement and the women's suffrage movement. The legislation was initially constructed to bar critical race theory from Texas public schools. However, the language in the bill also removes teaching requirements for more than 24 historical figures, events, or documents. This list includes Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech and letter from Birmingham Jail, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, Brown v. Board of Education, the Emancipation Proclamation, the Ku Klux Klan and the ways in which it is morally wrong, and of course, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The list overwhelmingly targets achievements of and issues related to people of color and women. Many educators and opponents of the bill have highlighted that accurately teaching history would be virtually impossible with so many restrictions on subject matter.
Basically.
This Texas bill is even more significant because it could create a domino effect that would impact education across the country. Why? Because Texas is the largest market for textbooks in America.
I was going to get into that, right? Before he finishes, I want to get into it first before he says it. So, it creates a very chilling atmosphere of distrust, educators not being able to be the professionals they are not only hired to be, but trained to be, right? So remember, I did a video about the critical race theory, right? And how the United States doesn't have, well, I think I did this right already. But in what I have to say is that Texas is the only place where our textbooks get printed. In Texas. That's the McGraw-Hills that we see. Well, here, in my district of where I went to school at, or my town I went to school at, we only had McGraw-Hill textbooks. That was English, science, math. I think I said English in history. All McGraw-Hills. So this is the place in Texas where we get all of the textbooks in this country. So by them having this bill enacted, or this law now enacted, that means even the companies that print this stuff won't be able to print that stuff in the books. So now we have a problem. We have a dilemma that we have to deal with. All right, I'll let him finish.
From our state's curriculum, disproportionate influence over textbook content. While the legislation has passed the Senate, it is stalled in the House because the House can't achieve quorum while a group of Texas Democrats are in Washington, D.C. lobbying for voting rights. One of those Texas Democrats, Representative Ron Reynolds, joins us tonight. Representative Reynolds, thank you for joining me, sir.
It's great to be with you, Charles.
So give us some background on why this list of issues will be removed from being required teaching in Texas.
Well, Charles, I'm a proud Texan, but this is ridiculous, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate, but I'm going to be transparent with you. This is straight up racist. One of the things that that's on there is that they dropped a requirement that the Ku Klux Klan is morally wrong. Now, come on, y'all. They want to etch a sketch and do whatever they can to erase all of the accurate facts from our history that didn't depict the truth. In other words, they want to revise historical facts about slavery, about the fact that
they already have. If you guys haven't heard me say this, in textbooks now, it states that slaves. the name slave isn't even in there. It's indentured servants. Well, this is where we get our textbooks from in Texas.
You know, we at one point in the Constitution were not considered persons; we were considered property. That there's been a long evolution, and they want to then go a step further. So one of the amendments I had, and some of my colleagues had, was the documents from Dr. Martin Luther King, because we knew we didn't have the numbers. We just tried to make a bad bill not as bad. So we had some amendments. The reason why the governor added this to the call of the suppression session, because there's nothing special about it, was because they wanted to strip those provisions out, right? So no longer can you talk about, in addition to Dr. Martin Luther King, this is mind-boggling, right? You can no longer talk about Caesar.
I want to make sure I understand something though. I want to make sure I understand something. They're not saying you are forbidden from discussing these topics. They're saying that the state no longer requires that these subjects be taught. Am I right about that?
No. They won't be. They will not be able to talk about these subjects any longer. That they won't. They're not supposed to delve into them. That is something that they're supposed to steer away from, based upon this language. So all of the education groups, the teachers, they were there to testify that this bill it really takes away teachers' ability to teach history. They want you to etch a sketch and act like it didn't exist. So that is, they want to get, they're afraid that you're going to indoctrinate these young students with white guilt. And that's what they're trying to, is don't have enough intellectual capacity to learn history and still not be ashamed of their being white. And that's what they're trying to prevent. So it is, Charles, it is utterly irresponsible. It is ridiculous. There's nothing that makes sense about this. Okay? The Voting Rights Act of 1965. What's that?
Yes. Here's the bigger issue, right? Around all of this, which is they keep using this word shame and discomfort in not just in the Texas law, but in laws in other states. And I don't know if this is coming from some sort of think tank or some mill that's generating model legislation that is being exported to.
Now, to that, this is what I want to say. Senators aren't always the ones who write bills. There is a company out there that writes bills for big pharma and Walmart and Targets and shit like that. It's a company that these companies are affiliated with that writes a bill and then they pass it over to the Senate, well the House first, and then after that they gotta grease palms, so money comes along with it, and it's not just one senator, it's a lot of them. Along with the House of Representatives, those people as well, they also get they palms greased, and then certain bills that we see now that certain laws that are enacted now, we now deal with that to this day for the simple fact that this company just comes out of the blue, hands these senators this bill. If you guys don't know, senators don't read the full fucking bill. Sometimes these bills be like 4,000 pages long. They can't get through 4,000 pages in like a day, maybe a day and a half, 2 days. They can't get through the full 4,000 pages like that. So they'll read as much as they can, and then they'll place their vote on it. That's how most of these bills get put into law. Shit is crazy, man.
But they're using the same language around discovery. But let's just be very frank about this. Some white people, not all white people, did some shameful, regrettable, horrible, evil things in the course of American history, in the course of world history. You could probably find, different races of people who've also done horrible evil things. That doesn't mean you don't learn about the black person who did a horrible thing, or the Asian person who did a horrible thing, or the Indian person who did a horrible thing. That's what Indian is Asian, or the white person who did a horrible thing. That is part of the evolution that history teaches us to make, which is you figure out somebody did something bad, we don't want to do that again, digest it. But let me.
Okay. Now, he made a point a little while ago. He kind of expounded upon it with that. How white parents, and I brought this up with the critical race theory video, that white parents, certain white parents, don't want their kids indoctrinated and basically view themselves as bad. Now, critical race theory doesn't do that. What the hell's wrong with my damn saying? All right. So, what was I saying? So yeah, they don't want their kids indoctrinated, right? When in all, like I said, critical race theory allows the teaching of the full American history. Now, I'm pretty sure other countries like France, England, and places like that who have a high volume well, really not that much of a high volume, but they have they have black people in their country, right? Various countries have black people in them, but I'm just saying. Um, I think those countries have shot critical race theory down. Um, but with those black people, they know their history because a lot of them, a lot of them either come from Africa. Some of them come from Jamaica, but I know in England there's Jamaicans in Africans that live there that actually were either born in Africa or have parents who were born in Africa and then they made their migration to England. But they actually know their history because most African countries, they have a verbal what's it called? I don't want to get it wrong. Um they get taught the oral history. Basically, there's a man or a woman in their village that teach them about themselves and their village and their their village. I don't want to get this wrong. Where they come from, themselves, their village, and who they are. I'll just say who they are. Like, their tribe and their tribe. There we go. Their tribe that they come from. They have somebody in their village who teaches the kids this. You get taught in oral history, which we don't really have here in America like that for black people in America. Some people can't tell you the oral history of their country, of their family, or where they come from or whatever. Um, I know my aunt Dars was or Doris. She was a Howard professor, and she was an author as well. She taught down there at Howard University, and or was it Morgan? No, Morgan's in D.C. Howard is in. No, Morgan is in Baltimore. Howard is in Washington D.C. She taught at Morgan State University, so she knew the full oral history of my family. Only thing is, she died and she never taught anybody the oral history of the family. My uncle knows it somewhat, and I'm hoping before he dies, he teaches me or whatever. So, yeah.
Let me just get this.
Charles, you're absolutely right.
This
That's you just summed it up right there. That's right.
Right. So so let me just get this to this point though. So that means that any statewide test, you could not have questions about this on it because if it's not required teaching, you can't require it to be as a part of the testing, right? So people graduate out of Texas not knowing this history, and that is
That's
okay
that's
with the
that's
senators.
that's their objective, Charles. They don't want these students to learn this critical piece of history. They're revising it. They're trying to whitewash it. I mean, I don't have words to describe it other than what it is. What it is. That is essentially what they're doing. This is from a playbook from the Heritage Foundation and the Trump era. This is where we are in Texas politics right now. We don't want to be real about aspects of Texas and American history. We want to allow students to learn, but only certain subjects. And this is disingenuous. I don't know, no education group was in favor of this. This was a straight party line vote. Republicans voted yes, Democrats voted no. I'm ashamed of the state legislature. I mean, Charles, to add insult to injury, we had a winter storm Uri, where we lost nearly 700 Texans, and
all right, that's enough. So, if you guys want to watch the rest of this interview, please go over to BNC News on YouTube. BNC News. Please go over there. You can watch the rest of the 11 minutes and 5 seconds of this video. So what I want to do right now, I want to take a quick break so I can just use the bathroom and stuff like that. You guys go and replenish your cups with whatever you got in it. Spark your weed back up if you're smoking it. And I'll be right back. I'm going to leave you guys with something to listen to. And I'll be right back. I'm back. Said I'm back.
Well, a conservative Supreme Court justice says federal laws that
Yeah. Uh-huh. What? Alright. Let me turn this down for a minute. Let me turn it down for a minute. I said, Big Marcourt up in here just chilling. Say, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Y'all probably would like to hear me rap on here. I can do a little bit, but I ain't the best. I'll do it one day. I won't even write nothing. I'll probably just, freestyle for y'all one day, like I usually do when I'm with my friends and shit. But all right, so let's get to this last story, and I'll get you guys out of here so you guys can enjoy the rest of your Saturday. So the next story I got is big government censoring social media users by way of social media. So the way that this is happening is White House admitted that it is identifying problematic posts. I turned it down a little bit. Problematic posts from Facebook to delete on site because it causes misinformation about COVID-19. I'm not saying the word. Because every time I say that word, I get a video taken down. It's only been one, but still. But COVID-19, that's what we call it. COVID-19. If you don't remember my video a couple weeks ago, I spoke on Trump suing big tech of censorship and taking away his First Amendment rights. Now, they deplatformed him, and I would say the shit he was saying was very egregious, but this is what you guys have to understand. By Trump getting his page taken away from him, and it's not just him, all right, who got his everything from social media taken away from him. Louis Farrakhan got his taken away from him. Alex Jones and it was somebody else. But I got pissed when they deplatformed Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I should say. I'm talking out of term over here. So they deplatformed him, right? They deplatformed Trump, and they deplatformed him like a day after the riots, right? The January 6th riots, and CNN is still covering this shit. Like they just covered that the first guy got sentenced to 8 months. 8 months, I think got 8 months in jail. I think 4 months probation. Yeah, no, 4 months house arrest, and then he has to do like 2 months. So 8 months incarcerated, 4 months house arrest, and then I think another 2 months or something like that for probation. And I think he can't talk to all the other people that were involved. So yeah, but 8 months is a slap in the face. It's like if this would have been, let's say they did this with all of the protesters when George Floyd died. When George Floyd and damn it, I don't want to forget her name. What's her name? What's her name? Everybody, Louisville, Kentucky. What's her name? Please tell me. because I'm blanking on her name right now. So yeah, they basically censored Donald Trump from all social media platforms. So Jen Psaki, Biden's press secretary, announced that and let me put that up so y'all can see what she looked like. Because I don't have any pictures this time around, so I'm just going to go straight through. So, Jen Psaki, Biden's press secretary, announced that we are in regular touch with social media platforms. This is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. Question is, why are they doing this? Well, Americans are asking questions about COVID-19 and coming to conclusions when it comes to what Biden is trying to do for reaching his vax goals. So this is Shorty talking right here, and I'm gonna allow you guys to hear it.
Thanks, Jen. First on COVID origins, is the White House worried that China continues?
Wait a minute, before we start. When I become a big YouTuber, I'm gonna have to hire somebody that does sign language. I'm gonna have them right there in the corner or whatever, and I'm gonna have them doing sign language because I would like to have my hearing impaired listeners to know what's going on too. And plus, with closed caption, I don't really put closed caption on my video, only for the simple fact is that I talk in slang, and the closed caption is gonna get everything that I'm saying wrong. So I can't wait, man. I would hire somebody to do sign language for me. But I digress. Here we go.
Walling, the World Health Organization investigators, and now saying on COVID origins, is the White House worried that China continues stonewalling the World Health Organization investigators, and now saying things like they think maybe COVID-19 got into China through frozen food?
We are certainly continue to be concerned, Peter, about misinformation coming from voices in China about certainly the origins, their lack of participation in the process, their lack of willingness to provide data and information to the World Health Organization, as you know.
But why do they have to? We already know. So why do they have to tell you if, in a way, you guys already told us? And we already know to begin with. We've been saying it since last year. Since March 13th or 14th. We've known this for the entire time. So why are you guys trying to figure out what China knows? We know. So China don't have to tell you.
We are undergoing our own process here, our 90-day review here, but certainly the Chinese providing information, being a participant in the process, would aid the effort.
And then speaking of misinformation and the announcement from yesterday, for how long has the administration been spying on people's Facebook profiles looking for vaccine misinformation?
Well, that was quite a loaded and inaccurate question.
No, the hell it wasn't. It was a straight and direct question that you're just gonna monkey around and not answer it not right away, but you're not gonna give them a straight answer and give them the truth at that. So you're just gonna go around the question. Anyway, let's keep going.
Would refute. Well, Peter, first of all, as you know, we're in a regular touch with a range of media outlets. As let me finish. As we are in regular touch with social media platforms. This is publicly open information. People sharing information.
No one knows that you guys were in direct contact with social media platforms, Google, Twitter, and Facebook. No one knew this. Well, I knew, but no one else knew this. No one knew that you guys were holding several meetings with the government. I mean, holding meetings with big tech. No one knew this, so that's the reason why he's trying to get out of you, so he can write his editorial of what he learned from his meeting today, so he can tell the truth to the people. Now he'll fuck it up in a way, but at least he'll have some sort of truth inside of his article.
Online, just as you are all reporting information on your news stations.
But okay, so these 12 people who you have on a list, 12 individuals, do they know that somebody at the Surgeon General's office is going through their profile?
I'm happy to get you the citation of where that comes from. There's no secret list. I will tell you that these are people who are sharing information on public platforms on Facebook, information that is traveling, is inaccurate. Our biggest concern here, and I frankly think it should be your biggest concern.
If y'all read Fauci's emails, he clearly states in there, when I forgot the lady's name, matter of fact, I think it was her that actually asked Fauci in his email, was traveling okay, because she was traveling somewhere with her family somewhere, but it was actually, I think, her who actually emailed Fauci with some travel questions. Let's keep going.
Is the number of people who are dying around the country because they're getting
which was all inflated. All those numbers were inflated.
Information that is leading them to not take a vaccine. Young people, old people, kids, children. This is all being, a lot of them are.
But wasn't it the mandate where kids didn't have to wear masks?
Impacted by misinformation.
And you saw no kid. Well, I saw kids with masks. Some people, got creative and started making masks, and they started making masks for kids. So I saw kids with masks, but the mandate did state that no masks for kids are required. And what else? Well, I will say younger kids, not like older kids, but younger kids. What else did I have to say about that? I just keep going. Just go. Shoot. You can't go to that video because you got taken down. Well, like I said, I could do another video on it. On the video that got taken down, I have the whole show write up. So I'm saying I can. If you guys want that video, if you guys want me to do that video, just let me know. And I'll let you know where you guys can possibly find it at when I do it. Hell, I might have to charge money for it. I might, if you guys want to see it, well, see the video again. I can redo it like I'm doing it now, but maybe I'll go to like Patreon or OnlyFans or something like that if you guys want to see it.
The concern, though, I think for a lot of people on Facebook is that now this is Big Brother watching you.
They're more concerned about that than people dying across the country.
No, they're not. They're not concerned with people dying. People, we were censored from. Take QAnon. QAnon got deplatformed. There are no QAnon members whatsoever on social media, on any, except for it's one out there. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called like Babel or something. This social media where they got deplatformed from Apple. Babel did their app. They're a social media company where you basically can say any goddamn thing you want. And I think since those members of the of the people from January 6th were using Babel, and Babel did nothing to their users who used that app and that website of stating what they're going to do once they get to Washington. Apple totally took their app off. It's another social media app that got deplatformed as well. That is no longer on the Apple App Store. I'm not sure with Google Play or was it the Android store or something like that. I'm not sure with that. Y'all probably can, if you any Android users, y'all let me know if you still have Babbel and whatever the other social media platform was that Apple banned from their app store.
Because of a pandemic where misinformation is traveling on social media platforms, that feels unlikely to me. If you have the data to back that up, I'm happy to discuss it.
About things that are on Facebook, I looked this morning. There are videos of Dr. Fauci from 2020 before anybody had a vaccine. He is out there saying there's no reason to be walking around with a mask. So is the administration going to contact Facebook and ask them to take that down?
Well, first, I think what Dr. Fauci has said himself, who's been quite public out there, is that science evolves, information evolves, and we make that available in a public way to the American people. Exactly. I have never seen any data to suggest that that the vaccines cause infertility. That is information that is irresponsible traveling. Okay.
About the science. About the science evolving. Facebook used to block people from posting that COVID may have originated for a lab. That is something this president now admits is a possibility. So, is there any concern that things you're trying to block or have taken down might someday turn out to be?
We don't take anything down. We don't block anything.
Whoa. If you guys are basically asking Facebook, Google, Twitter to take down misinformation from the pandemic that involved COVID-19, how is that not blocking people from allowing to say whatever they want to? She doesn't have an answer for that, I'm pretty sure.
Facebook and any private sector company makes decisions about what information should be on their platform.
Yeah, but wasn't it the U.S. Senate, basically is the U.S. government, they talked to them, if you can see this video, both videos are like 2.5 to 3 hours long. You can go on YouTube, maybe Facebook as well, and watch these videos of C-SPAN, the Senate. It was on C-SPAN, but the Senate speaking to both Facebook, Google, well, both. I meant all three. Google's executive, which is some Middle Eastern guy. Twitter, and he's also been on the Joe Rogan podcast. What's Joe Rogan and what's his name? I can't remember his name. He's another YouTuber. Was asking them hard-hitting questions about their policy and what they do when a post is put up that they deem problematic because of their new community guideline standards. This is across the board with all social media companies. Instagram, you can't post nothing that you want as far as it going like against this. What I say? Twitter first. Twitter, Facebook does this as well, and also Google by way of Facebook. Because when I put up those Fauci emails, and when I also spoke about it in that Fauci email video, my video got taken down the next day. Probably not even the next day. It probably got taken down like right after it. I got done with it. I didn't see it until the next day. that it was taken down. Now, I can dispute it, and I'm still writing how I want it to be disputed. But I haven't gotten there yet to where I'm able to send it to him. So I'm stuck without that video being up. So let's keep going.
Our point is that there is information that is leaked. Facebook and any private sector company makes decisions about what information should be on the platform. Our point is that there is information that is leading to people not taking the vaccine and people are dying as a result. And we have a responsibility as a public health matter to raise that issue. The responsibility we all have, the government, media, platforms, public messengers, to give accurate information. Go ahead.
Now look.
Congressional Republic.
Okay, I'm not ready for that one yet. So yeah, we're talking about her saying that since people are dying, they want to censor COVID-19 misinformation. Now, there is no misinformation from what I've seen. It's just people asking questions or coming up with their own hypothesis of how it happened. Well, wasn't it the government that shared it with the news that state that the lab leak theory was true? This was on CNN as well as Fox News, which YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter allowed them to post these videos, these snippets of these videos of people the newscasters and whoever their guests were to get into said lab leak theories. Now, also, wasn't it these companies that allow these news companies not to also post their stuff, but to put up articles from said writings onto their platforms that has to do with the lab leak theory, where it all came from. How long did we know about this? Why was said virus in what the hell is that word? I forgot the word, but it has to do with like them testing viruses and watching them evolve over time. I can't remember the word. But everybody who's watching, or if you're watching replay, please type in the comment section and let me know. I just had it. Anyway, so to continue with what I've been saying, so is basically Biden trying to reach his vax goals. So such as kids vax before school starts. But haven't we learned that isolated, just in theory, everyone learns and works better, right? From when kids were, well, I would say kids need some sort of interaction with other kids. So they can continue with what they're doing now, with kids being at home, learning, with them having to be, at school for certain things or certain days, like they've been doing. They can continue that. But with people who work, who work jobs that they were able to stay at home, most of these people were more productive at home than what they were at the office. So why wouldn't they just, I know it's a company's it's each individual company's decision if they want their workers to come back, but production, as far as people who sit in offices all day, production was high on that end. As far as my job goes, I can't stay at home and do it. I have to actually go to the job site and work. But we all seen with the numbers, with the statistics that came out that work workers' productivity went up by whatever percent, which I don't understand why they wouldn't allow that to keep happening. Because guess what? You don't have to worry about if you are working at home being vaccinated. Anyway, so also door-to-door vaccine. Yeah, Biden wants door-to-door vaccine to happen. Who the hell does he think he's well, who the hell thought that shit was a good idea? Door-to-door vaccine. Number one, you don't have to display your medical history with anybody. That's HIPAA law. So somebody knocking on your door saying, have you been vaccinated? We want to get you on a list so you can get vaccinated. Nigga, who you talking to? Like, who are you? Number one. Oh, I'm with the initiative to get Americans vaccinated. Do you want to get put on the list?
Nope.
Yeah, that's a hell no. And I'm pretty sure that there'll be more like, well, this, if you get it, then you'll be able to protect everybody else. Like, you sure you don't want to get vaccinated? And I have this also to say.
Be gone, son!
Thank you. But anyhow, only the government thinks that only the government thinks that this door-to-door shit is good. Who do they think they're fooling at that? I like this beat. This beat is fucking hard than a motherfucker. Let me turn this up for y'all. Oh my gosh. All right. So, and I just lost my place. All right, here we go. So, so for all the smart folks who doesn't want to take it, like myself, like they're not fooling us at all. But it will work for all the dummies out there that think they have no other choice. And there's a lot of people out there who has gotten the vaccination because they felt like they didn't have any other choice, which with certain employers, before you come back to work, you have to get vaccinated. Now that's causing some people to lose their jobs, or if I just watched this podcast, and this dude called in and he wanted the podcast host's opinion on it, because he said he was just out of college. He had just got out of college. He was searching for a job, but in order for him to be hired for said job, he would have to get vaccinated, and he doesn't want to get vaccinated at all. And he's stuck for the simple fact that he doesn't want to get vaccinated. But he has responsibilities and stuff at home he has to take care of, so he feels like his hands are tied. Now, the podcast host told him that it's 100% his choice to get it, but he has to make the decision if he wants to be vaxxed in order to be at said job. That's it. So it's a lot of people with their hands tied out here, and they have no other choice other to be vaxxed against their will, really, because everybody needs a job, everybody needs to make some sort of living, and this is what their company put out is, look, in order to come back to the office, you have to get vaccinated. You have to have both shots and able to enter back into these doors. And some people are like, well, shit, I'm fucked. For the simple fact that I don't want to be vaccinated, for the simple fact that I don't feel as though that I should be vaccinated. It's not on no anti-vax shit. It's that they think that with the whole mandate of it, they don't really feel as though that they should be vaccinated. All right. So, what else is happening? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. The administration is using big tech. Let me turn this down a little bit. So, administration is using big tech to keep you in line. The sheeple. All right. The government states that they only looking at misinformation related to Americans' health, but of course, there will be a time when some story they consider misinformation, like the Fauci email video I did. Social media for some people is the only source of information for many people, which is stupid because you should be actually reading your local newspaper daily. Should be reading some sort of editorial from Washington Post, New York Post, the Daily Bugle, any type of newspaper you should be reading. All right, and we have phones now. You can read your local newspaper on the phone now. You can read all these other places on your phone, on your computer. There should be no reason why you guys aren't reading local newspaper articles and national news articles. There should be no reason why you're not doing that. Okay. So, shit. So the White House's ability to shape and manipulate opinions is easy, i.e., the 2020 election. Government colluding with big tech companies currently control most of our communication, which is scary to say the least. Does the government think we are dumb, or do they think we're not smart enough to think for ourselves? Whatever the concern is, it becomes terrifying when you consider the possibility that maybe they don't believe we're too dumb to think for ourselves, only because there is a fundamental reason behind the fact that our government, in such a way to limit and restrict the ability to exchange ideas among citizens. But there's a downside to this, only because part of the country thinks conservative and the other part thinks liberal. One idea separates the country, the other destroys the country's values and allows people to combat the very idea of family values and in decency. The problem with big government censorship is losing your freedoms of one little piece one little piece at a time, or at one little piece at a time. In social media, use their own medical expertise. They can surely afford it to monitor and evaluate information from the CDC and others. Adapting how they handle potential misinformation. If on the other hand, the federal government provides directions that would be a violation of our First Amendment. All right. And I'm gonna get through this page before I get to the video. So let me put the video up now, and then I'm gonna get into the video. So what happens today can affect our tomorrow of risk for individual liberties. Big tech is becoming a lapdog for government censorship. Joe Biden and non-binary see the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights as an obstacle, preventing them from achieving their globalist collectivist endgame. All right, so I only got like a page or so. Well, not really a page, like maybe a half a page and a quarter left. So I'm gonna get to this video, and then I'm gonna finish up. All right. I don't need that.
We're up in arms. Congressional Republicans were up in arms Thursday after the Biden administration revealed it was flagging problematic Facebook posts with misinformation about COVID-19 to the social media giant. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters that the Surgeon General's office had increased disinformation research and tracking, and added that it was important to take faster action against harmful posts, and Facebook needs to move more quickly to remove harmful violated posts. Psaki was joined by Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, who said the administration was asking big tech to consistently take action against misinformation superspreaders on their platforms, and calling on news organizations to proactively address the public's questions without inadvertently giving a platform to help misinformation that can harm their audiences. The comments touched off an uproar among longtime big tech critics like Senator Josh Hawley, RMO, who accused the White House on Twitter of using Facebook to impose its hashtag COVID-19 speech code. The social media platforms are increasingly just arms of the federal government and the Biden White House. I think it's really scary to have the federal government of the United States, the White House, compiling lists of people, organizations, whatever, and then going to a private company that, by the way, is a monopoly, Facebook, and saying, you need to censor.
Which is true. There should be no reason why the government is going to Facebook and other social media companies and saying, "Look," and I wonder how much Facebook is getting broke off for doing this, because there is no way that this privately owned company, Facebook, Twitter, and Google, isn't getting any type of financial kickback for doing this. There is no way that shit is not happening. There's no way that they're going to be like, well, they get a call from the White House saying, hey, the president would like if you start censoring people's posts that have to do with COVID-19. And Mark Zuckerberg said, okay, cool. I'm pretty sure Mark Zuckerberg, as shrewd as he is going to be like, okay, well, this is what's gonna it's gonna cost. Every post will like this amount every month, and we'll set up a quota with you guys. If we meet this quota every month, we'll like this much in kickback funds. I don't see no other way. Because there's no way that the government can be like, all right, well, if you don't do this, we'll shut you down. There's probably no way that they can do that. But I'm pretty sure Mark Zuckerberg and the rest of the gang is getting some type of financial kickback for this. So let's keep going.
You need to do something about this. You need to tell these private users on a private company, what they can or cannot say, Holly told Fox News Special Report Thursday evening. I mean, I just think this kind of coordination between big government and the big monopoly corporation, boy, that is scary stuff and it really is censorship, added Holly, a longtime advocate of breaking up big tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Amazon. At this point, you really have to wonder how private of companies they are, Holly went on. I mean, if you're taking direction from the federal government, openly coordinating with the federal government, you've got the government saying, we think that this speech ought to be censored, and big tech, if they carry out those instructions, I mean, that looks like they're starting to operate as a public utility, and there are many people out there who say we ought to just treat them as public utilities. We ought to just regulate these private companies as such, he said. Representative Thomas Massey, R.P., referenced George Orwell's classic novel, 1984, accusing the White House of Ministry of Truth, Love, and Malfeasance. These are state-controlled media tactics we rightfully condemn in dictatorship, he tweeted. If an administration has a message to get out, let them express it. But when the government works to throttle speech with which they disagree, it has crossed a line. Big government is now Big Brother under its POTUS, warned Senator Ron Johnson, R-Whiz.
All right. I think that's the last video I have for you guys. But man, come on. You got to look at it like this is what's happening in this country. And it's scary. It's like one by one, we're getting some type of civil liberty taken away from us for no apparent reason, because we're smart people and we want to know some information that you're not telling us, so we have to share amongst each other. Well, how do you think this all is going down? Like, what's your thoughts on it? Tell me what you think about all this, and then we're sharing it online because we want to see if the person that we're asking, or a podcast host or whatever, is if their thinking is at the same is the same as ours. That's all we want to know. Or we want to know some sort of truth about we want to know some sort of truth about how all this happened and why we had to stay in the house for fucking a year and a half. That's all we want to know. That's all. That's all that it is. We just want to know where it came from, what was the cause of it, what sort of information you have on it, what was the lab, and what do y'all plan on doing about the lab and whoever runs it and stuff like that. We just want to know these certain questions that we have. We just want to know these answers to it. That's all. That's all we want to know. But it's hard for the government because, like Farrakhan says about religion, if we knew the full scale of this, I'm paraphrasing what Farrakhan says. Farrakhan has said in, I think it was 2012, at the Savior's Day celebration. He gave a speech and he basically said, when he was talking about religion, he basically said we're spiritual babies, right? And the thing with babies, infants, that they have to be on a liquid diet, right? Until they grow up, they get teeth so they can start to learn how to chew. If you give a baby a piece of meat, the baby would choke because he doesn't know what the hell to do with it, right? Other than it knows how to swallow. So the first thing it'll do is swallow and it'll choke. So the government is looking at us like infants, as if they give us this piece of meat, we'll choke on it. No, we're actually grown enough to where we can chew on this shit and think about it. So this is the only reason why we want to know what the hell is going on and why they're doing this. So let me finish this. Should I finish this?
Finish it.
All right, let me finish this. Why would one care who is vaxxed or not? If they're vaxxed, in theory, you're fine. But I said in theory, right? Because if you skim through the Fauci emails, it shows what is truth and what is not. But it's a lot of half truths and lies in those emails. As we could see last year around the time the pandemic started, the social media started to censor our voices and not allow conspiracy theories or conspiracy theorists such as QAnon and Alex Jones an alternative thought that didn't align with the government, CDC, or the views of the social network's owners. This should be corrected by harsh laws, ensure the free flow of reliable information and discourse. Democrats have become brazen. They violate the Constitution and U.S. laws with impunity. I will go as far as lawyers and police violating constitutional rights. Just look at the DA that convicted Cosby, or the police, or agent provocateurs that kicked off the shit where people were peacefully protesting. This is where the country goes. It's This is where the country goes when it leaves its citizens with fear, without the hope of making it better. That's where we are in this country right now. Donald Trump is at the forefront of this censoring business to stop social media from doing that and deplatforming this. And I know people aren't too fond of Donald Trump. As a staff member, as a record label, and as a crew, shout out to Tupac. But look, this is something that we will benefit. Wait a minute, I didn't. But look at this. Look at this. Something. All right, I'm not reading this right somehow. Uh, but look, this is something that will benefit you and me if he is successful. So look up why he is doing it, and if you agree, stand behind him for your freedom to express yourself, because it's our constitutional right to do so. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all don't rock with Donald Trump, but he's trying. And y'all might say it's probably for personal gain, but if it is, it only just doesn't help him, it also helps us too. And I said a few weeks back that I stand behind Trump with this whole censoring shit. I don't necessarily I don't necessarily agree with his politics, but I do stand behind him with this this censoring lawsuit that he has against big tech. Because if they can do it to him, they can do it to us, and we've seen it time and time again who they do it to, and nothing happens. So something's actually happening now. He's trying to get ahead of it so nobody else has to deal with this. So everybody, that is the end of the show. I have reached the end of the show. Give me some applause on that. All right. So I will start to get out of here. All right. So everybody who's watching this podcast right now via Facebook or via YouTube, the way I'm doing it and the way I'm streaming to both places, or three places really, to both my Facebook personal and group page and my YouTube channel, I'm using Restream.com. Restream.com is not paying me to say this, but I use them so much, and I like what they're doing over there, and this is the reason why I use their product, and I like it. So everybody, if you guys want to start streaming the way I am, please go to Restream.com. Don't forget. Where's it at? Don't forget. On Fridays, I do a game stream by the name of Marcus Speaks Play. It's here on the same channel as my podcast. I haven't made a backup channel yet. I'm getting into doing that because I really do need to do that. So yeah, you guys can catch me Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please check what coast or what time zone you are in, for the simple fact that, I'm starting 6:30 here. Midwest, I'm starting at 5:30. Mountain Time, I'm starting at 4:30, and on the West Coast, I'm starting at 3:30. So please know what time zone you're in to know what time I'm going live. All right. And also, don't forget, Saturdays, I do my podcast, Marcus Speaks Live, which comes on every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't forget to come and check me out when I do my podcast as well. If you have any sort of question, or not question, any type of recommendations for the show, for my podcast, or for my game stream, or any type of ideas, please leave them in my comments section, or hit the live chat, or hit me up in my DMs and let me know what I can do as far as a topic or a game to play or something like that. Just hit me up either in the comment section of any video that you're watching or my DMs. All right. And where you can find me is on Instagram at Marcus.speaks.podcast on Instagram. Facebook, the personal page is Marcus Speaks. The group page on Facebook is Marcus Speaks Podcast. If you go to the Facebook search engine and type in Marcus Speaks PC, you'll be able to find me, okay? I'm on YouTube for all my Facebook people that's over there watching. Please come on over to the YouTube from now on, okay? I will keep going live on Facebook, but I'm just saying, when this video goes down on Facebook, the live video, I have the YouTube link in its place. So if you want to rewatch it, you'll just be directed to YouTube. So I'm trying to build an audience over here, so that's the only reason why I'm doing it, all right? So once again, I'd like to say, please don't forget, check me out, Marcus Speaks Play and Marcus Speaks Live, Friday and Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all right? And it'll help if you did this for me. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button, and also share this video. Okay, share it. It's free. Like it. It's free. Subscribe is free. Hit that bell icon to all as well. Okay. All right. So, look, y'all. I've been Marcus. This is Marcus Speaks, and I'm out of here. I thank y'all for watching, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or your night. And I'll catch you guys next Friday on Marcus Speaks Play. I'll check y'all out next week. All right.